Today, I'm going to be giving you a tour of a Minecraft survival world that I spent over 6 months and 200 hours playing and building in. Now, today's tour is going to be given by me in a separate world from the original server because I want to be able to use spectator mode and things like that. So before we start, guys, make sure you're subscribed and let's jump down into the middle of the world and begin the tour. So here we are on ground level, but before I show you any of this in more depth, I want to do a little quick throwback to what it used to look like before, I came along with all my sandstone. So this right here is where it all began, this little flat piece of land on the Cornerstone SMP world. If you guys haven't seen the series, go check it out. It was real fun, and I unfortunately have had to leave. That's why I'm doing this world tour, because I've done so much on the server that I wanted to show off. And right here, this is the world before anything really happened to it and before I came and, transformed the entire thing into, well, this. So I feel like we should probably start where it all began, and actually it began down here underneath this artificial land right here. And if we fly in, this is my starter base right here underneath this fake island, and this is where we started, a little tiny base in here, and that has actually been my nether portal through the whole series, and now it's not anymore. But either way, we definitely want to get to the more juicy stuff. That's pretty boring. I figured I'd show it though. But the next thing I did in my journey on the server was actually these houses up here and this statue. So yes, this statue right here, built out of quartz, was made pretty early on, and what I had to do in order to do this was create this entire artificial platform of sandstone, which took so long to do. But once I did that, this area wasn't too bad. The only other issue was, the trees. I built these trees around the outside, and trees just add so much to the world. And as we turn around, I began with this little path, and the first house constructed in this entire city was actually this one right here. And there's a little path that goes into it, and for a while, this was actually my storage system. Yep, just a few chests up against the wall, and this is what I use to store my stuff. Moving back outside, we have this beautiful fountain, and this again was a super early build for me, along this long piece of building right here and this long piece over here. And these were intended to hold my villagers, which later kind of failed, as for some reason they all disappeared towards the end of my season. But yeah, this was just kind of the center point of the town, and as I progressed, I used this little area right here to store all of my shulker boxes. And then the second house built was actually this slightly bigger one here, and this one does have a little bit of a nicer interior with a kitchen, and over here it has a second floor with a balcony that looks out over the river. Now, I'm naturally moving with the progression of the server, and what I did next was some little odds and ends like this diagonal build here just to fill in some space. Really, there's nothing going on here, but I also did this artificial mountain out of the ocean with a little cupola and bridge on it, and I just thought this build looked so cool over the water and everything, and I hope you guys think the same. This is just such a interesting build I wanted to make, and it does have one flaw. Not only is this cupola not functional, I mean, it looks great, but the biggest issue is you can't even walk down this bridge unless you get on top of the walls, and then you have to bounce down, and you still can't. You're gonna have to jump from wall to wall and run it like this. And as we move deeper into the season, I started the artificial little hill that I was going to put my massive Parthenon on, and this was the plan from the beginning. I wanted to have some huge scale Parthenon for my Greek build, and this slightly unfinished mountain was the first thing that I did. I then went and put down this first layer of sandstone and layered it out, and as you can see, this still could use some mob proofing. This first layer was the first thing I did for the Parthenon, and it kind of sat like that for a while. I next moved down here kind of to these little like bathhouse things, and I put some decoration and whatnot, but I just added in these things on the side with basically no purpose. I mean, there probably could be a purpose to them, but yeah, there's nothing in here. It's completely pointless. And then it goes into this second area here. I'm not really even sure what to call this thing, but it goes into there. It's like a big gate, an entrance thing before you get to the huge stairs up to the Parthenon. And up at the Parthenon, I just want to say this took so long. If you haven't seen the video, go ahead and watch. It's a couple time lapses over different episodes, but geez, did this take a while, and so many resources, so many sand blocks and sandstone, and quartz. That was the biggest pain, but yeah, this thing took so long, and we have some cool designs in the roof, but the roof is completely quartz all the way across. This is the biggest build in the place, and this is really the big, crowning jewel of the base. I'm super proud of this Parthenon, and I had it designed since early on in the season, and I can't believe I actually got this thing finished and completed. But right after that was finished, I created this river that went right through it, and as we follow this river, it'll bring us to our next stop along our building journey here. So right over here, we have this little junction here where there's some flower beds and a little island that goes out into the ocean. And this was the next thing that I built. And this is a more natural build with another custom tree right up here. And I just thought this was such an interesting build. And I've wanted to have a river here. There is like a mine shaft that was going through, and I just replaced it with water basically. I then began building over here, which I was calling, the high-end district and whatnot. We got this beautiful little house here with a garden outside. We have a bridge that goes straight across, and when you're here, it just feels like you're so engulfed. I even gave some people some houses. Oops. Over here, you'll see we have another house right here, a little diagonal one that we worked on during the video, and then over here, the biggest house of them all, the nicest one too. This one is a beauty, and on the inside, if we take a look, there is nothing. So guys, that basically takes care of all of the building aspects of this base, and oh my gosh, did this take so long. Every episode we put in a little bit of work, and sometimes I'd take a break because of the amount of resources that I needed to gather to get all this stuff built. It was just insane. But if we take a look down here, the last final project I was working on before leaving the base was actually down here, our storage room, which actually turned out to be pretty large and expansive, and the problem is we never really got to use it. And yeah, a creeper also blew up. If you saw the episode, this was just sad. So we're gonna take a step away from our beautiful base, and we're gonna take a look over in the shopping district, where I also did some massive amounts of building and different things over there. So let's head on into the nether and go over to the shopping district. Now in the nether, I did have somewhat of a nether tunnel. This is my tunnel attempt, but it does kind of end right here super abruptly. That was because this nether hub was being built and I didn't attach to it yet. But yeah, I kind of ended up just flying across the nether anyway once I had elytra. But this beautiful hub was built by a group of different people, and it really helps so much. But if we jump in here, you'll see we have our portal over to, oh gosh, I'm stuck in here. Okay, if we just head on down this tunnel to the west, we should end up right here, which is going to take us into the shopping district. And just again, remember that right now I'm in a copy of the world in a single player version of it, and everything that you see here was actually done in survival on a server. And if you need the proof, go head over to my playlist for the Cornerstone SMP, and you can literally see me doing all of it. So yeah, just threw that in there. So as you enter the shopping district, you see the grand town hall, the cornerstone town hall, signified by that C right there. But this was actually my project that I worked on for a couple episodes. I think 3 episodes is how long this huge build took me to finish, including the interior and everything. But I'm so proud of this build. I wanted to do a community build, and I was originally wanting to do the portal, but I then ended up doing the town hall, which I just thought was such a cool project to work on. And it looks great from the outside. We have the cornerstone, the flag, all the big windows and everything. But if we jump down here and walk up these stairs, inside is just as cool, as we have a bunch of seating and a huge glass chandelier, and even a map of the entire shopping district right here on the table in the very center. Now, as we walk back outside, the frames might be a little bit rough here because there's so much going on in the shopping district. And this was my little entrance up to the town hall with a little bit of a failed fountain that turned into a statue. But our next build is actually over here. If we fly just over here, here we are. There is a castle here, and this was our builder's shop. Basically, people could come here and request a build from us, kind of give us instructions, and we'd go, build it for them for diamonds. And we only did that a few times, and it was just a real reason to build a castle and change up my build style, because I had been doing such sandstone Greek style builds for so long. I wanted to just kind of build something different. But yeah, this shop turned out just so cool. Also, throwing it back to our very first shop on the server, and I think it was maybe the second or third shop to be built here. at all. And this is our iron shop. We basically made an iron farm super early, a really crappy one, and yeah, we're out of stock as usual. It was mostly out of the stock a lot of the time, but it was a fun little build to make, and I was proud of this when I first joined the server and started, and we can just see how much I've grown since then. So changing the timer quick to get us a little more of the overhead lighting, we're going to look at our last project here in the shopping district. Up here we have our entry for Hicks build competition, and he did this on his huge artificial mountain. And right here is our entry. It is a French church with, some smaller buildings on the outside. And yes, this was kind of a reused build from a tutorial that I did, but I did, change up the block palette entirely from the build, added in some extra houses, and, got pretty creative with this, I would say. And we even added some stuff around the back. If we fly right over here, we got a little farm and stuff back here, and the frames are just atrocious, guys. I am so sorry. There is just a lot going on at Hicks base, so it's a little bit hard. But yeah, if we fly right here and we pop down, we can go into the inside of this, and I'm again sorry about the frames. In here, it is just beautiful as well. We got some nice stuff. And although it doesn't have a function, I think it looks just super cool. And you can also see everybody else's community builds here for the build competition. So we've returned to the base. We've covered all of the builds from the shopping district and from other areas, besides some other odds and ends like our iron farm, our other little farms, some stuff we did for Jack over at his base. We built him a little swamp portal area, and some other little things I may be forgetting, but that's all of our major build projects from the massive amount of time I've spent here on this server. And unfortunately, as I've said, I am having to leave this server, and that's why I'm doing this build tour. And it's just so interesting to look back at everything you've done throughout, 6 months of playing on a server. And this wasn't just normal playing. I was really, on here a lot creating content. And, I woke up every morning and played on here and just made a lot of progress. And I think this base has been the coolest base I've ever made in survival Minecraft, and the fact that I even completed this much stuff is just super impressive. But if you guys are looking for more survival content from me, trust me, soon I have something absolutely incredible coming. The announcement should be coming fairly soon, guys, so stick around, stay tuned for the announcement. So once again, thank you guys so much for watching and enjoying this world tour. And if you're excited for more content like this, stick around. We got some crazy stuff coming very soon as I'm finishing up college and getting to go home for the summer. We're going to have so much content pumping out, especially more Builders Academy. So thank you guys for watching. Leave a like if you haven't, and subscribe as well. And I'll see you next time.